For over 4 decades, the people have lived under the rule of a tyrant who denies them their most basic human rights.
The time has come for him to step aside.
We must keep on with the NATO mission and bring him to justice.
I am for free press, fair elections, and equal rights for women. I can't say that.
Hello and welcome to What the Flick. Sacha Baron Cohen is back with yet another wacky character in The Dictator. I am Christy, this is Alonso, this is Matt. This is his first actual scripted movie, or is his Dolly G movie
The Ali G
scripted?
is scripted.
All right, so
well, it's his
Bruno.
first big narrative post Borat and Bruno.
Describe it to us, please.
So Baron Cohen stars as Aladeen, who is the despotic ruler of the northern African and oil-rich nation of Waadeya, and is a terrible person, and is coming to New York to address the United Nations. And it may be that his second-in-command, Ben Kingsley, has nefarious plans to get him out of the way, and put a double in his place to sign a new constitution so that Kingsley can pocket some of the billions of dollars from the newly found oil revenues that the country will be getting.
Supreme Leader, the United Nations demands that you come to New York and address them.
Fine. We are going to America.
I ain't gotta tell you what it's your boy Ho.
Admiral General, welcome to New York City. And while you're here, I highly recommend a visit to the Empire State Building before you or one of your cousins takes it down. Rise and shine. Nobody's gonna recognize you without this.
Is there any way you could lend me some money? Maybe $20 million.
This is the plan. We're just two ordinary American tourists.
I love being an American.
إلا وحواني لو فويش مش Empire State Building.
ولا سيب سيدة بس هو شاينا بس Statue of Liberty. أيوة.
Okay, so Borat was great. Bruno was not quite so great. This is even less great than those, I would say.
That's a fair, yeah.
It's diminishing returns with this guy, I think.
Here's the thing, this movie's a mess. I mean, it is so all over the place, and you can tell that he's just kind of throwing things to the wall and seeing what sticks. But I laughed fairly regularly, and so I'm willing to forgive the many flaws that this movie has. It's like, that's really the thing with a comedy. Like, you can be scattershot and you can have a sort of, wobbly plot and whatever else. As long as I'm laughing. If I'm laughing, I will forgive you almost anything. And I laughed at this movie.
But there's a disparity between the intentions here, like the intention for pointed satire, and what he comes up with, which is actually really hacky, fish out of water comedy. I mean, essentially, it's a raunchier version of Coming to America. And so the glaring gap there is what bothers me.
The movie does kind of feel like an excuse to lead up to the big speech at the end, which is the one like really zing point of satire that this film has to offer.
And it's like 85 minutes to get there. No, 80,
not even
80,
that. 80 minutes.
Maybe,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that feels like it's a sketch that's gone on far too long, right? Like, I think that you could have cut this down to probably half an hour, and it would have been really sharp and really much funnier, but it just drags out, and it just goes on forever. And there's all these parts that, some of it's supposed to be funny, but it just doesn't work. Now, I will say, like, kind of the offhand conversations that he has with the former weapons designer, Nadal, who's played by, I can't remember his name.
Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, there's some really funny bits there. But I felt like, for the most part, all of the jokes he's making with Anna Faris, I didn't find very funny.
None of that's funny. She's a type. She's like this crunchy granola lefty who runs the organic grocery in Brooklyn. Like, she's a type. It's a waste of her because she's a very, very funny comedian. It's a waste of Ben Kingsley because his character is he's nothing. There's nothing to him. And he's somebody who can really, really act and also can be funny, and it's a waste of all of these qualities.
I can't deny anything you guys are saying.
And yet
I laughed. Yeah. That's really there were enough jokes that made me laugh that even though they were not as sharp as they could have been, and they were random and just sort of like, let's see if this worked. Okay, we'll try this for a while. No, now we'll do this.
Well, you did love the Three Stooges.
I did love the Three Stooges. We all love the Three Stooges. Let's
So
face
what do
it.
you think has to happen here with Sacha Baron Cohen, right? Because he creates these characters who are just totally out there, and he immerses himself in them. Like, what does he have to do now to no longer be the guy who made Borat?
Well, I mean, we're seeing him do like actual characters, you know, like in Sweeney Todd and Hugo, you know.
Right.
I think, you know, there's any number of things that he could be pulling off. But I mean, at least, you know, let's compare this to last week's, you know, God Bless America. This is it's a satire, and while the satire isn't as sharp as it is in God Bless America, at least he makes the comedy a priority. You know, so it's like he's less interested in putting his point across as he is in making sure that there's something going on screen that you will find amusing.
But the comedy doesn't always work, and the comedy can be really hacky.
For
and
me,
lame.
for me, it did, but that's obviously
Okay.
that's a matter of taste.
So go ahead, I'm
See,
sorry, you guys say.
I found that it's trying to straddle this weird zone between just kind of silly goofball comedy and then really sharp satire that we kind of know and expect from Cohen, right?
Sure.
Like, I mean, even Ali G, even the scripted Ali G, like he gets really sharp, and where he really shines, I think, is his improvisational skills and his ability to be in character with a real person and draw out something from a real person that, you know, when you watch, you're almost horrified, right? I think that unfortunately in this movie, you lose that, and some of the scenes that felt kind of improv-y, you know, and if you stay and watch some of the bloopers and some of the extra scenes in the credits, like you kind of see him, you know, a little bit of improv that happened, and you're like, oh, okay, that's really funny, and there's not enough of that in the movie, unfortunately.
Well,
It's almost like- go ahead,
no, I read that it was mostly improvised anyway, actually, that like about 85% of the film
it still is?
was sort of, off the cuff. I wonder if he's become so famous now that he can't do the sort of guerrilla stuff that he used
I'm
to
sure
do because
that's
people know
part of
who he
that.
is.
I think
you
he was
know.
too famous when he made Bruno. I think people
Yeah.
already knew who he was when he made Bruno.
Yeah, maybe so. But yeah, I mean, like, because Borat, obviously, unless you were like watching HBO and knew
Right.
the Ali G show, you did not know who this guy was. You
And
know?
clearly, like in Dallas at some antique store, they're not going to watch Ali G or whatever. Yeah, I guess what he's playing Freddie Mercury. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, that
next?
could be
That
really
could be
interesting.
great.
Yeah. That could be cool.
So, all right. So we will hold out hope still for Sacha Baron Cohen. Okay. So what are our numbers?
I didn't like it as much as you. I actually, before we get into the numbers, the
sorry.
question I
Go
have
ahead.
to
Yeah, go
ask
ahead,
is, you saw it at a critic screening, right?
Right, yeah.
Were there a lot of laughs in that?
I think so.
There were a lot of laughs
I mean,
from
it's
the
hard.
audience.
It's hard to know while I was doing it if other people were, but I think I wasn't the only person.
Because I can tell you, in the theater that I was in, I saw it yesterday with a real audience.
with regular folks.
The hoi polloi.
With normal people. There weren't a lot of laughs.
Really?
There weren't a lot of laugh
Well,
lines.
it got a cinema score of what, like C or C minus, something like
something
that.
like
Yeah, Dave paid to see it, and he said that it kind of went over like an SNL movie. So you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Please go ahead. So-
5.5.
I'm going to be the generous one this week. I give it a 6.8.
I give it a 3. I laugh really infrequently. I kind of wish he'd never left Waadeya. It's funnier when he stays home. Like his whole lair is so absurd. Like that, there's some funny stuff to be had there.
Although his
So-
complaints about the internet in the hotel was really funny.
That's yeah.
Like a guy with that much money complaining about $20 a night for internet
No,
was really funny.
this is one of your lines that sticks. Okay, so our average is a 5.1, but I think it's nowhere even near that, right?
No, it's 65%
Oh, is it?
on the tomato meter.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's dropping, right?
It's
it was,
dropped.
It was higher.
It was really high. We got a lot of positive reviews early, and then it's dropped a lot. So
I would say
like
go,
20 points.
Oh, yeah. I would say go rewatch Borat.